some reason, it had these walls looking all red and shit, so I had to readjust the focus. I've put on some weight since I got this suggestion. 2 years can do a lot of damage to your body. Should take money. I don't know how to tie this tie. I never had a father to teach me how to tie a tie. But you know what? I don't have any daddy issues. In the first place, there are more important things than actually tying a fucking tie. And in the second place, the only daddy issue I have is the fact that people refuse to believe me when I tell them I don't have any daddy issues. I don't have father issues. I don't have abandonment issues. You know what? I didn't have a dad, but I didn't need it. I was raised by women. And you know what? Women are so incredibly strong. Women can be independent and accomplish a lot of great things. I mean, all of the young women of the world need to know that you don't need a man to make you feel good. You perfectly just fine on your own. You can do that all by yourself. That's why I'm such a huge fan of the WNBA, because I've seen firsthand just how strong women can be. That's why no matter what's going on in my life, I will always cover the WNBA, because people do not give enough credit to women for how strong they can be. Not only for the WNBA, but just all women's sports, and just women in general in the world just still do not get enough respect today. I like the way you look at me. I like those times we spend, baby. I like what we have grown to be. I like it, girl. Don't you know I like it? Greetings, everybody. This is the Pet Fan Perspective. I'm your host, Nathan Nile, and here today we are bringing you the 2014 WNBA Fan Awards. And without further ado, let's get to some of these nominations, shall we? We're going to begin the night looking at some of the candidates for Most Improved Player of the Year. And here are the nominees. Jessica Breland, forward for the Chicago Sky. Skylar Diggins, guard for the Tulsa Shock. Brittany Griner, center for the Phoenix Mercury. Courtney Paris, center for the Tulsa Shock. Jontel Lavender, center for the Los Angeles Sparks. Emma Miesemann, forward for the Washington Mystics. Now, everyone here, I feel, is very deserving of the award in their own way, but there is one name that definitely stood out to me the most, and so I believe that the award for the 2014 WNBA's Most Improved Player should go to Skylar Diggins of the Tulsa Shock. Skylar, your growth has impressed me the most. Griner, she had injuries. Breland and Paris, I had no idea who they were last season, and now they've been every game starters who have done a great job being impactors for their team. Miesemann, I saw a little bit of improvement, not much of a jump. You know, Lavender, she has the advantage of having two MVP caliber players in Parker and Nneka, distracting opponents so that she's able to run wild. I mean, Skylar Diggins is the player that last year she looked like a total bust to me. I was like, ooh, is she actually going to have a career in this league? Because she just looks horrible most games. There were like 2 or 3 really good games from her, and the rest of them, ugh. And yet this year she's come onto this team looking like a really strong leader, and she's just been incredibly impressive all season long. And for most of the season, the Tulsa was a very threatening opponent to face off against, and I cannot wait to see what they bring to the table next year. I think they're in for a really good season next year. I'm choosing Allie Quigley for 6th Woman of the Year. Deal with it. This year was a very great draft class, one that might go down in history as one of the best ever. So without further ado, here are the nominees for Rookie of the Year. Shoni Schimmel, guard for the Atlanta Dream. Janae Agumike, forward for the Connecticut Sun. Jameer Faulkner, guard for the Chicago Sky. Bria Hartley, guard for the Washington Mystics. And while everyone on this list and a lot of others who didn't get their name called right now, all these rookies performed very well. Like I said, I'm very impressed with the entire draft class. But one of them easily stands out above the rest. So the Fan Award for the 2014 WNBA's Rookie of the Year goes to nnew for the Connecticut Sun. Look, the Sun, they didn't have a great season this year, but they actually did better than I expected, to be completely honest. They are one of the youngest teams in the league, and nnew easily became a great leader for them. She was making a lot of plays on the field, led all rookies in double-doubles. I'm pretty sure she had twice as many double-doubles as the rest of her rookie class combined. So now we will take a brief intermission. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy this performance from Usher. You make me wanna leave the one I'm with, start a new relationship with you. That's what you do. Think about a ring and all the things that come along with you. You make me. Now what's bad is you're the one who introduced us, knowing it should have been you. Now what's bad is I'm with her, but I'm falling for you. Hey, you make me. And now we have the award for the Defensive Player of the Year, and the nominees are Tamika Catchings, forward for the Indiana Fever; Sylvia Fowles, center for the Chicago Sky; Brittney Griner, center for the Phoenix Mercury; Alana Larkins, center for the Indiana Fever; Candace Parker, forward/center for the Los Angeles Sparks; Jessica Breland, forward for the Chicago Sky. And this category is always one of the hardest to pick just because statistics can only tell you so much. You know, it's hard to measure impact and performance outside of the numbers, which is what I try to do here. So I'm going to go with the woman who, in only her second season in the league, not only led the league in blocks by far, having more blocks by herself than most of the entire teams in the league had combined for. A woman who set records for most blocks in the game, most blocks in the season. Teams are generally less aggressive against her because they know she's roaming the paint, and yet she still manages to rack up an impressive block total every night, averaging nearly 4 a game last that I checked. So in case it wasn't obvious already, the 2014 Fan Award for the WNBA's Defensive Player of the Year, I'm giving it to Brittney Griner. OFNP, Old Faces, New Places, Tina Charles. Do I gotta say anything else? Do I really have to explain why? And now last but certainly not least, we have what we've been waiting for all night, the Fan Award for the 2014 WNBA League MVP, and it was a very tough decision to make because we have a lot of future Hall of Fame names who entered their name into this race. So without further ado, the nominees are Tina Charles, center for the New York Liberty; Angel McCoughtry, forward for the Atlanta Dream; Tamika Catchings, forward for the Indiana Fever; Diana Taurasi, guard for the Phoenix Mercury; Elena Delle Donne, forward for the Chicago Sky; Candace Parker, forward/center for the Los Angeles Sparks; Maya Moore, forward for the Minnesota Lynx; Skylar Diggins, guard for the Tulsa Shock. And in this category, win or lose, all of these women performed valiantly. But let's go from the bottom up. First of all, you've got the Shock, who are not in the playoffs right now, so that alone eliminates Diggins. I'm sorry, she had a fantastic year, but what it comes down to is your team winning games. I'm also going to eliminate Taurasi right off the bat, and I'm also going to eliminate Angel McCoughtry, not because they're not great, but I feel like their team that they have around them, they have underrated role players. I mean, nobody talks about Sancho Little. She does not get as much credit as she deserves. D'Souza is one of their anchors, and now they've got some great guard play with Demerck and Shimo. They're still coming into their own, but when they start being more consistently putting up those numbers that you can get from them, I mean, wow, this has got Atlanta Dream team is going to be even scarier. And with the Mercury, they've got the #1 record in the league. It helps to have Taurasi, one of the best players ever in the game. But, the emergence of Garner, both offensively and defensively, she's improved. Dupree has been solid for them on both sides of the ball. DeWanna Bonner, she won 6th Woman of the Year 3 years in her career. And she's always been a consistent presence for them that people don't talk about enough. I just feel like even though Taurasi is easily the leader of that team, I don't feel like she had as big an impact as some of these other players. Tina Charles, as of recording this, the Liberty are not in the playoffs, and I don't know for sure if they're going to get in. So I can't, in good consciousness, choose her. So now you're left with a choice between Kat Chings, Moore, and Elena Delle Donne. These are the 3 people who I feel like they, above the rest, really just made such a huge impact for their team. With both Tamika Catchings and Elena Delle Donne, I want to give it to both of them simply because when they were absent because of their injuries, you can see the effect that it had. Their team as a whole just wasn't as good, and then they struggled without them. And when they returned, you see that they gave them such an emotional lift, and they just start tearing it up, not just with their play on the court, helping the team improve both offensively and defensively, but their mere presence on the floor makes these other guys want to get up and play. So I feel like both of them are very deserving. Unfortunately, numbers don't lie. And in this case, I'm kind of going with the numbers because her numbers just pushed her above the top. That's right, my choice for the Fan Award for the WNBA's 2014 League MVP, Maya Moore. How many 30-point games has she had this year? How many 40-point games has she had this year? The Lynx have been one of the best teams in the league for so long, but this year, they've had a few of their struggles. Still number 2 in the West, number 2 overall in the league. And honestly, they would be number 1 if it wasn't for the fact that Phoenix was just tearing shit up. But the biggest surprise about that is, people don't even realize how banged up Minnesota has been. Monica Wright has missed time. Rebecca Brunson missed a huge chunk of the season. Simone Augustus has missed time out of the lineup. Maya Moore has been steadily and consistently leading this team night in and night out. Offensively, she's putting up huge point totals, but defensively, she's also having a huge impact. It's not always reflected in the numbers, but she's greatly improved on that side of the ball. Maya Moore, she just seems to keep getting better every year. And the Lynx, with all the injuries they have, they would be excused for falling off, but they're still just as good as they've ever been, and that's because of the improved effort of Maya Moore, her stepping up in the absence of her teammates and doing whatever it takes to put them over the hump. Well, that's it. Thank you for watching the show. This has been The Fan Perspective. I'm your host, Nathan Lyle, and we'll leave you today with the music stylings of the great Stevie Wonder. You can feel it all over. You can feel it all over, baby. You can feel it all over. You can feel it all over, baby.